What's up guys, in this video is a Gardevoir EX matchup guide. I'm going to be going over a ton of relevant matchups in the format, basically every one that is really important, and we're talking about how you should be playing against them as Gardevoir. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, I played hundreds of hours of Gardevoir at this point. In 1 week, in 11 days, I played 110 hours of Gardevoir, and I've played way more than that over the months that Gardevoir has been legal, and has been very relevant since NAIC, which is when I've been mostly playing it. If you don't know who I am, my name is James Cox. I got top 4 of the World Championships in 2022. I got day 2 of the last few events with Gardevoir. No special results, but importantly as well, a lot of the information I'm giving is information that I've gotten from my friends, people I've talked to. I worked very closely with these 3 people, Brent Tyson, Matthew Burrows, and Ali Miller, who all have really good results with Gardevoir. So if you don't want to take it from me, mostly information is regurgitated from them, or, you know, they've agreed with the things I've said. So from Wrong Range to Blocklax, and then these matchups as well. I wanted to put this on a different slide. Mew VMAX I'm going to go through as like all the other matchups. And then Lugia VSTAR and Iron Valiant I don't have the best information on because I haven't played the matchups myself a ton. But I do have some things that other people have told me, but information could be not 100% right in what to do in those 2 matchups. Because Lugia and Iron Valiant haven't been very popular until like well, Lugia not at all, but Iron Valiant not till very recently, and I haven't had time to go over that matchup. So and work out what I'm supposed to be doing. So the first matchup, Roaring Moon. So the basic concept of this matchup is this is a turbo matchup. So basically what's going to happen in almost every game is you're going to go down 2 prizes, and then you're going to be trying to come back from there. So they're going to either they go second and attack turn 1, or you go second and then they attack turn 2. Either way, the basic strategy is, it was the same as like old Miraidon, where we had this matchup, but you go Curlier, you go like, you can Mirage Step, you refine. Mirage Step very good in this matchup, just to, you know, clean slate your board, make sure you find on board state. And then what you're going to do is you're going to attack with Arcana into a Roaring Moon, and essentially put them in a really bad, once they're at 6-4, so you're at 6 prizes, they're at 4 remaining, you Arcana kill a Roaring Moon, or take 2 prizes in some way with Arcana Gardevoir ideally. There's other ways to do other things, but I'll quickly go over this. Ideally, you kill with Arcana, and then they basically are in a situation where there's no good play for them, because if they kill your EX, you're still going to have a 6 energy Arcana on board, and you're going to be able to kill their Roaring Moon back, which would be beneficial, which means 4-2 prizes, you kill their Roaring Moon, you go 2-2, and now you don't even have an EX, you have no way for them to take 2 prizes. You're going to be a favorite in the game, for sure. Or they kill your Arcana, and then you just kill back with another Arcana, or like Scream Tail, or like any way to take a good amount of prizes. And then you're at 2 prizes, they're at 3 prizes, and then like if they kill your Arcana again, you can kill with another Arcana or anything along those lines. You just take 2 prizes 3 turns in a row, and you're always going to win that prize trade. Now, the other card that we now have is Scream Tail to kill Squawkabilly. Now, it is fine to use Scream Tail on when you have 6 prizes remaining, when they've taken 2. And kill a Squawkabilly. The only issue is if they kill your EX, you're in a slightly worse position, because you'll have to maybe collapse or Turos your EX out of play. That's something you can definitely go for though, because you don't really want to be benching another EX on that turn when they go down to 2 prizes, obviously, because they only need 2 prizes to win. Even though you only need 2 turns to win, they'll only need 1. And then also winning when you're 6-3, so if you had like a worse start and now you're trying to win with 3 prizes when they only have 3 prizes remaining, then you really just need to keep EX on board for 1 turn probably, and then smack with Gardevoir, Iona them to 3, pray they whiff the boss kill on your EX, and if they do whiff the boss kill on your EX, then you can go collapse or Turos your Gardevoir EX while attacking with Arcana, like preload your Arcana Gardevoir, and then collapse your EX. A lot of the time when you're collapsing or Turosing an EX, you do need to keep in mind that you need to preload energies on your board, to just so if you don't draw EX the next turn, then it's easy to win, and also like obviously preloading so you can actually attack, right? Iron Hands, you're in a really bad spot. Game's almost concedable. If they go first and they get turned to Iron Hands, game's almost concedable. I play these games out, and I'll talk at the end of this section about how you win these games that are really far lost with Iron Hands. I'll talk at the end of this talking about this matchup, but generally what will happen is they'll start by attacking with Chien Pao, and then your goal is just to spam Avery, Screamtail. You want to be killing Bib and Bax, obviously. So which one do you kill, Bib or Bax? It really depends on what their board is. If they have no more Frigibax on board after your Avery, then it's pretty clear cut that you just kill the Baxcalibur. Because if you leave them with no Bax in play, that's when it's really, really difficult for them to do anything. So if Iron Hands is active, you always have to kill it. But another play you can do in this matchup is they currently don't play Boss or Cross Switcher. So they don't play any way to Gust. They usually play Iron Bundle and Counter Catcher. Those are the most common. Sometimes they play Cross Switcher, often not. So if you just put a Gardevoir, like an Arcana Gardevoir with a reversal energy on it, and start and go Counter Catcher and just punch something, or like kill, you'll usually be kill with barrel, or if you can get the extra energy, you can kill Bax, like depending on their board. Then that means that they can't attack with Iron Hands on that specific turn, which can be very good. You can also go double reversal to kill a Chien Pao without any damage, or you can accumulate damage with Cresselia you can accumulate energy with Cresselia on a Arcana Gardevoir, so you can get all 6 energies without having to attach energy, because if it has 140 health, the MP very much will be killing it, and they can't take the 2 prizes, which is really what they're looking for in this matchup. Avery is very strong against them. Keep that in mind. You really want to be digging for Averys. Even getting rid of Manaphy, Greninja, even getting rid of Greninja. Greninja's a big deal for them. If you can get that off the board, massive deal. Even though a lot of the time they're support mons, and also leaving them to 1 Bib, making sure that they have 1 Bib is very convenient. If you get rid of their only Bax, attacking with EX is really good. I know I put EX on the screen specifically, and now going into how you win games that are really far gone. The main one I've seen, if you play Cape, putting things to 140 health is really strong. Just at the end of the game, kill Iron Hands, put something to 140, can work. Oh, I mean, it just depends. The way I do this is I usually go around the Iron Hands. So I put some energies on, Counter Catcher, Chien Pao, Iono, something. Sometimes that's what I do. Sometimes I try and kill Bib. It really depends on what their board looks like. But killing Chien Pao can be, or kill Bax, but you have to do something, because if you just kill the Iron Hands, a lot of the time, they can either recover, you're leaving their Bib and Bax on board, so they can just recover the Iron Hands, relatively easily, which is not something that you really want. I mean, it really just depends what their board, and sometimes resources as well. If they're down a lot of rods, then killing Bax is obviously incredibly strong. If they stopped away their other Bax, killing Bax can be strong. But you want to go Iono at the end of this game. And also, it's worth keeping in mind that Ionoing, even if they have a barrel in play, is positive. Even if you're leaving a barrel in play, sometimes the Iono will. Because, if they holding 6 cards, even though, it seems okay, well, they're just going to draw back to 6, right? Draw back to 5, right? With the barrel. Even, you can still, what they would do is play those 6 cards and then get 5 more, instead of just having no hand and just starting at 5, which it is a difference, and it can matter in winning some, winning some games that are very difficult to win. So, I think that's all I have for the Chien Pao matchup. The next one is Charizard EX. Matchup is pretty good, but I have a very specific idea on how you play this. So the Zard variants at the moment says Pidgeot Zard, obviously, that isn't like this, but the Evo Zard variant, they opt second. And even Pidgeot Zard is sometimes opting second. I think a lot of the time they're opting first, but they can be opting second. Regardless, if you go first against any Charizard variant and you Mirage Step on turn 2, I found that the best play is almost never to kill their Charizard EX, because kill their Charizard EX with Arcana when they're on 5 prizes remaining. So what's going to happen is you go first, you go first, you have your turn, they have their turn, you then step, they have their turn, they kill your Mirage Step, and then they have 5 prizes remaining, you have 6. If you kill the Charizard EX this turn, you're going to go down to 4 prizes. Let's say you get Arcana Reversal, Bop, put a bunch of energies on it, Nuke. What's going to happen, this is specifically against Evo TM Zard, is they're going to kill your Arcana with a Charizard. You have nowhere to kill. Then they're going to Gust your EX. And while you still have a way to win, Radiant Charizard's going to come the next turn, and you're in a much worse spot. What you're better off doing, in my opinion, is using either Counter Catcher or Screamtail to chase after their barrel or their Draw Engine. Come out with Avery can be good. And then when they kill that, they're going to have to 4 prizes. You then kill with Arcana and Iono them. And now they're in kind of a weak position, because you have 2 turns to win guaranteed. and they're kind of needing to hit like the counter catcher gust that turn, and even then it's not that good because then you can just go down to 1 and just be favored to win. There's definitely issues with this if they hit the boss kill on that one turn, on the turn where you go for the Scream Tail, because then you have to bench another EX and that can get gusted. But if they do that, they'll have to draw consecutive bosses while you've just Scream Tailed them a barrel, which can be which is very difficult for them. Definitely issues with it, but I think that's been the most reliable way to win, in my opinion, from my experience. And the Pidgeysard, you're just basically trying to kill the Pidgeot as soon as possible because that deck just bricks if they lose Pidgeot. Kill Pidgeys if they didn't get Pidgeot down. Matchup can be scary, but it's not really the end of the world. It's I'm pretty confident that it's favored. Counter catch helps you a little bit, but also being less consistent since the last format is a bit annoying. So. But that's all I have to say about Charizard EX. And in that matchup, you are kind of fine. As long as you're killing Pidgeot, you're fine to go to 4 against 4 because then you can, like, I don't know, you just Cresselia the turn after. As long as you get the Pidgeot out of play, like, they're not going to draw consecutive bosses realistically. Which is kind of what they need to they're going to draw a boss on the turn, it's good, which is what they need to beat this whole play. And also Velocity can be scary too. It's kind of rough going for a slower strategy. You kind of just want to go as fast as possible. Giratina Lost Zone. Now, I have a lot of things to say about this matchup, and I don't think I have the time to say absolutely everything, but I'll try and get through as much as possible. I like in this matchup not scooping games that look very far lost because you can win kind of games that are really far gone. But anyways, I'm just going to go with the matchup. So, your spread attackers are obviously insane. Iono is insane. So like Cresselia and Scream Tail are both insane. Avery is surprisingly very good against Lostina because there's nothing they really want to get rid of. I played against Cyrus Davies at LAIC, and something that she did was I Avery'd and then she just dumped both her comfies and the end game happened and she had no comfies. And that made it a lot easier for me to manage this like really impossible to win end game. But basically, if they go super fast against you, it's pretty rough, but they're generally very slow. So what you're trying to do is like, you kind of want, and this is a matchup like even more than any other matchup that you don't necessarily need to be ahead. So a lot of plays I was doing initially, and I still think are pretty decent, is just EX just punching into a Giratina. Like if they haven't taken any prizes, haven't taken any prizes. Like for example, if they go for the Cramorant, they're going to be Abyss Seeking if they have Brain Cells. But if they go for Cramorant, then you're just playing like you'd play any Lost Zone matchup, which is just Iono and Cresselia around them, and they're like a even less consistent version of any other Lost Zone deck, so it's gonna be very strong against them. But if they do go for like this Giratina, like usually they just sit there Abyss Seeking for like 2 turns, which isn't terrible for them. But what you kind of want to do is just force the issue. You want to kind of like put damage. You want to like Gardevoir EX punch the Giratina, just get damage on it. They start Requiem, you can just kill it. And then you're playing for a prize behind, but it's not really that bad because it's super easy for you to come back. If they don't bench Giratina, so if they ever get to a point that they don't have Giratina on board, your best attacker 90% of the time, unless you really, really need to heal with Cresselia, which can happen. It's not that uncommon. But if you don't need to heal with Cresselia necessarily, then just punching one prizes with EX is very good. And even if they have Giratina, like if you just punch with EX and force them to take the first 2 prizes, you'll have counter catcher for the rest of the game and you have really strong Ionos. So, and then you can go for like a Cresselia for 5 ping on that Giratina, or you can just straight up go around it. Just straight up Cresselia around the Giratina and just try and play like a normal game from 1 prize behind. I think it's very undervalued going behind in this matchup, even when you have the opportunity to go ahead. So, I don't have a whole lot else. Just using Cresselia to go around Giratina is really strong. If you get into endgames, you can just punch Giratinas with 1 prizes because they really don't want to have to burn a gate to just Lost Impact or 1 prizer if you think you can get away with that. It's something I go for decently often, and that's why Cresselia is super strong. Cresselia around Giratina is so strong. They run a lot of switch cart, so just note that they don't have a lot of switch out of Giratina, so if you leave it active, that can be good. But I mean, Giratina, the matchup is so complex that you're more likely to learn from me watching me play this matchup than anything else. And there are some YouTube videos if you can, if you want to search through, just scroll through my feed of videos that you can find of me playing Gardevoir against Giratina. All right, Miraidon. Matchup's terrifying. If they Iron Hex, okay, so we'll go over first if they Iron Hands EX before you can Mirage Step, because those are the really tough games to win. But if they do that, the ways you're gonna win, usually you kill the Iron Hands and then you use Gardevoir EX to kill their Mew EX. That's one really common situation that I've seen win. They're not playing Mew EX, you have a lot more options. Then you go like Iono, Gardevoir EX, Counter Catcher, kill Squawk ability or something and just leave the Iron Hands in play. Because the Iron Hands isn't really a threat unless they draw things. In those situations, basically just like think of a way you can have it so that they don't draw, that they don't have game on board. If they don't have game on board and you're Ionoing to 1 and they don't have Mew EX in play, a lot of the time you are winning those games. They play a lot of dead cards, so their end games aren't that great. And yeah, you can use like Collapse and Turos to get Gardevoir out of play, but that generally isn't relevant in these like really hard to win. The games that are really interesting is when the matchup goes like they attack with Raikou and then attack with Iron Hands, and then you're in the game. But are you in the game? The games get pretty like close from there, and then you're just trying to play like an Iono, and you're trying to like move around Raichu, because Raichu is a really scary thing. If Raichu can take, obviously if Raichu kills EX and takes 2 prizes, you're not really winning those games if they go Raikou into Iron Hands. So the way to play around that is like Collapse and Turos on the final turn, where you kill like Iron Hands, they like Raikou take a prize or something, and then you go Collapse or Turos, pick up your Gardevoir, get your Gardevoir off the board. I think it's very necessary in the deck to run at least one of these, but I only think one is needed. If I think playing Collapse or Turos is good in the deck, but you do need one. I played Collapsed. A lot of my friends played Turos in LAIC. You can look up our list on Limitless TCG from LAIC. You'll learn a lot. So, and then Counter Catcher can be super good. Counter Catcher plus Screen Tell, Squawk ability can also be really nice. Or even Counter Catcher, Cresselia, kill their Flaffy. It's less good because the Iron Hands just comes and nukes it now. It was a lot better before, but there are some issues with doing something like that. But getting the Flaffy off the board can be very good in games where they don't even get Iron Hands at any point, which can happen. I don't really a whole lot in the matchup. If they never get Iron Hands, then you're in a very good spot. You can play as the same as Chien Pao, where you attack with, if they don't get Iron Hands early enough, you start attacking with an Arcana with 0 damage on it. It can work. And attacking with EX, I think, is a really good thing to do at any point if you can get away with it, because them not being able to kill with Iron Hands is a massive deal, and them having to use Raichu can potentially get energies off the board. If they don't have Flaffy in play, it's worth noting the only way to, like, while it's really obvious when you're in the game, like, it's not as obvious, but like their only way to get energies is with an electric generator. So if you're in a really bad spot, like sometimes killing Flaffy and putting them to only being able to get energies through electric generator and just hoping that they whiff 1 or 2 gens, like fully whiff 1 or 2 gens, or just don't draw them, all are very possible situations and things that you can definitely consider going for. Like an EX, Counter Catcher kill the Flaffy, they have to go like, let's say they have no gens left, or they have 1 gen left. And then they have to like generate and attach to, or they have to generate and attach to Raikou to kill your EX. Well, now they've used all their energies. They have no Flaffy in play. They have no generators. I don't know 1. They've lost the game, right? So there's plays like that you can do against Miraidon that I think are pretty cool. But for the most part, if they either get Iron Hands before you Mirage Step, and then the game's really tough, or they don't, and then they have really high odds of getting Iron out of the game. So matchup's definitely playable. I think it's unfavored though, because even these games that are playable, you're losing a lot of them. So play around Mew EX as well, worth noting. They can Mew EX if they have double Flaffy, or if they just attach to it. So make sure if it becomes a threat, you can always tell when it's a threat, because Flaffy is the only way they can accelerate energy to Mew EX. So if they have 2 Flaffys in play, there's a chance you're going to get Mew EX'd. Play around it. All right. Lost Vikings with Stadium up. I don't know why I put it on the screen. You can get rid of Brochant, but it's just Stadium up. Lozabox. Lozabox hasn't changed in ages. Rundown is Cresselia and Iono are very good. When they attack with Cramorant, you want a Cresselia and Iono. I don't know. Like, the Roaring Moon variant, you can Turos your Gardevoir EX when it's important, but a lot of the time that's not even what you do. You just Iono them to 2 and hope that you win. I mean, if you play Jirachi, maps are very good. Just bench Jirachi. You can go for a spread attacker, but most of the time attacking with Arcana with reversal and then just them having no real good way to answer that is incredibly strong. An Iron Hands variant of Lost Zone Box, you're doing the same thing as every other matchup, but the thing is Gardevoir X is incredibly strong against any Iron Hands variant of Lost Zone Box. Like if you see Iron Hands and you see Greninja, you know, just Gardevoir X is just gonna be the most insane attacker. But basically, you're just playing a one prize war. Cresselia is insane. Gardevoir X becomes insane eventually, but it is in the beginning. And it can die to Drapion, but usually that isn't a risk. You just end up attacking with Gardevoir X at the end of the game. Stack energies on your Arcana so you can attack with them with 0 damage. Stack reversals on them, and then if you can kill Dragonite with an Arcana Gardevoir with 0 damage on it, that can be super effective if they go for a Dragonite. Or if you kill like a Raikou with, you go like reversal. You go like attach reversal, Cresselia puts energy, like preloading your Cresselia can be super important. Also, something that I didn't talk about the Giratina matchup. Wait, no. That I wanted to go over because I just remembered. They play Path, play around Path, first and foremost. But also, a better way to play around Path is at the end of the game when like you're scared of breaking yourself to Path, just put energies on your Gardevoir X. Just like you're attacking with an Arcana or you're attacking with a Cresselia, just slam 2 more energies on a Gardevoir X. It's impossible for them to punish. Like the difference between them using Lost Impact and Star Requiem is like nothing because they're never going to use both Lost Impact and Star Requiem in a game. So 40 damage being on a Gardevoir literally means nothing when they're already at 10 in the Lost Zone. The only difference is that if they're in 10 in the Lost Zone before, is they can kill your Gardevoir X before they're at 10 in the Lost Zone. But if they're not at 10 in the Lost Zone, then it's very, very good to just put energies on Gardevoir X, play around Path. Especially if you already attacked. Sorry, Gardevoir Mirror. We're already at Gardevoir Mirror, that's crazy. Wait, it's already been 25 minutes, holy, time flies. Alright. Gardevoir Mirror. Avery's very good. Okay, so the Gardevoir Mirror. Start at the beginning. So I think basically, with the new age of Avery, you're trying to not get 2 Gardevoir chopped in one turn. In any one turn, you want there to be no situation where 2 of your Gardevoir get chopped. Like, they go Avery, and you're forced to discard a Gardevoir, and they go use a snipe attack to kill another Gardevoir, or counter catch to kill another Gardevoir line. That's the absolute worst case scenario. Now, things you can do. So, Avery, discarding Gardevoir X can be very good. Like the best thing to discard because it gives you more draw for the next turn. It lets you keep refinement in play. If you do have to discard one off Avery, usually Gardevoir X will be the best one. But here's something else I found is that the first attack, if you're going first, and so the person who's ahead has the advantage. Full stop, they do. Why do they have the advantage? Well, with the new age of Avery and basically being able to chop Gardevoir super easily and being left with very little draw at the end of the game, it becomes like the player who's going second has a really, really hard time ever finding a 2-prize kill on the Gardevoir X, especially on the final turn when it's super important, when they're basically at 2 prizes. That's the best time for them to kill your Gardevoir X. That's the turn where it's hardest for them to do it. Especially while you're chopping down. If you can get rid of all their Arcanas, then them hitting Zacian Gust is tough on the final turn. Also, so basically what I wanted to say is with not getting 2 Gardevoir chopped, the first attack when you're going first, so the person going first with an advantage, going first has the advantage, but you need to stay ahead or at least equal in Gardevoir lines. And the best way I think to do that is to attack with Arcana or Gardevoir X as your first attack of the game. Instead of Screamtail chopping their Refinement Curlier or chopping, but it basically only is going to be Refinement Curlier at that point. You're better off just killing the Mirage Step and using an Arcana to do it, because if you go into Screamtail, what's going to happen is they're just going to go, all right, Avery, bench Manaphy, Screamtail, kill your thing, and you're like, that's like, it's such a terrible situation. You're left with 2 Gardevoir lines. You're just down a Gardevoir line at that point, and then the game gets really, really difficult a lot of the time from that situation. It's worth noting that Screamtail keeps the energy on it, unlike Cresselia. Like Cresselia, you have to set up every single turn, but Screamtail, if you discard your Gardevoir X and have a Screamtail still attacking, if they go around your Screamtail from that point and you just Avery'd away your Gardevoir X, you don't have to mention the Gardevoir X. You can just keep punching with Screamtail. You can either go counter catcher. Another thing to note in this matchup, I'm going on kind of tangents, so just take the information and hopefully you remember something. But Like your bad starters, like your Mew, your Greninja, you don't really want to bench them when you're going first, because then your opponent gets counter catcher and they go counter catcher Avery and then Cresselia or Screamtail. Manaphy can sometimes be okay because at least they can't Screamtail around it, but the risk of Cresselia is quite high. So having like nothing else on bench, like ideally going first, your board is just 3 Guardian Lines on bench, like Arcana active, and you're just punching. And they kill one, that's fine. You're not getting too chopped. And then you can start going to Cresselia or Screamtail once you're already down that like full Guardian line. And you're also ironing them to less cards. Is also very important because like on turn 3 is when they actually have access to the most cards. Because they get all 3 refinements and they can evolve to their Shiny Arcanas. But after that, like they've already evolved into an EX. Like you chopped one of their Curliers and you're chopping another Curlier. They have way less draw than they did on the previous turns. Less likely to have Avery if they're only playing 1, which a lot of the variants were. Unlikely they're actually going to have the Gardevoir, the Avery. So that's my advice for that. Benching Rolls is fine. If you get a Rolls chopped or like a Manaphy chopped off Avery, you literally don't care at all. And especially if you get Greninja or Mew chopped, it's not great, but it's also really not that bad. So if you're going second, basically just bench whatever you want. Like Greninja goes on the bench because they can't boss an Avery in the same turn. They have to counter catch Avery, so they can only do that when they're behind. And also, if you're ahead, going for counter catcher Avery is incredibly strong because, yeah, also when your ahead is to chop 2 Gardevoir lines. And if they're attacking with like an Arcana, for example, and they have like a Mew in play, counter catcher, Avery, Screamtail, very strong. Manaphy's good to bench in the matchup, especially when you're behind. Because it can't get chopped and it blocks Screamtail, which is their attacker of choice. Also, attacking with Screamtail first is better than attacking with Cresselia. Generally, Screamtail is just better than Cresselia overall, unless you want to get energies on board, which can matter. I had a game this weekend where we're on 3-3. My board was a Gardevoir EX, 3 energies. They were all manually attached from my hand and nothing else. And I almost won that game. I should have won, but my opponent top decked the Iron into counter catcher, which, I mean, what can you do? So, because my Gardevoir X survived, and etc. When they were ahead on prizes, because I needed a turn to come back in prizes, and I had no board. And stuff like that'll happen, random situations like that. Attacking with Gardevoir X can be strong when it can't die. Blocklax! I have a lot to say about Blocklax. Alright, so here's what you do in the Blocklax matchup. If you have no experience in the matchup at all, I'll give you the early rundown, and then I'll give you the new tricks rundown. Okay, so basically, Mirage Step is your best friend. Ideally, so if you start a water Pokemon or anything like that, you're in a really tough spot early on. But if you don't, because even having to burn Turos to just pick up your water Pokemon is really bad. Or like Mew Celebrations as well, has to be retreated. Sometimes you can get away with Boss Retreat, Collapse Stadium, but very rare that you actually get away with that. Oh. And collapse away your Mew or your water Pokemon. But if you don't start the water Pokemon, that's when the game gets very interesting. So, what are you supposed to do? So, Mirage Step is your best friend. Ideally you start Rolls. That's your best starter in the deck. You Mirage Step out. I think, I've had differing opinions, so I'm going to give you my opinion and other people's opinions. I think you're supposed to step out as many Curliers as you can, and then you want the rest of your bench to just be Rolls. Now, other things are okay to have as your bench, but they have major issues. So, your okay to bench Zacian, that one's the better one, the best one, but the issue is it's not a Curlier. So it can't evolve into Gardevoir and be useful as a Gardevoir, which Gardevoirs give you utility, they give you draw. So, basically in the matchup, you're trying to go as fast as possible. If you give them time, you will lose. Trust me. I play the matchup. They're going to go Avery. They're going to go Echoing Horn. They're going to win. They're going to go Avery. And they're going to Iron you. Then they're going to Avery. And then they're going to Erika's or they're going to Echoing Horn. And you're going to lose. All right? Trust me. You don't win those games. You go very slow. Actually, there is another strategy that I think is fine. But it's only fine very conditionally. I'll go over that at the end. Anyways, back to this. So, and then you basically want your boards to be Step, Refine, Rolts, because the Rolts with Teleportation Burst, because they can pivot out of the active incredibly easy by just attaching energy to them. Worth noting that energy is best in the discard pile. It has no utility in your hand because you never want Greninja on board. So, energy goes to discard wherever possible. Never attach energies from hand, basically. It's never worth it. You're literally better off having damage on board. You're better off getting the discards. You have no reason to ever attach energies. Unless you're attaching to Mirage Step, which, obviously. But the plan is, And then once you do that, their strategy is to basically continually gust your Curliers and run you out of energies in your deck so that you have no remaining ways to attack. How do you beat that? So the main ways are Tours Collapsed and this other combo. So the Tours and the Collapse, basically what you use them for is to pick up or discard a bench Pokemon and get the energies off it so you can then put those energies back on your new active. You can also Super Rod, like if you attack with an Arcana, I think you're supposed to just go for one-shots wherever possible. So like Arcana with 5 energies. They gust you, all right, collapsed. Collapsed, take another kill. You want to kill their Rotom as soon as possible, but when you kill their Rotom with Boss, you have to retreat. You have to use that as a turn to retreat to something that was already taking knockouts. Because if you just Boss and like put more energies on the active, like you're not using what the unique advantages of Boss is that you can now retreat. You need to use that advantage to get over the line. And yeah, like they're not the most consistent deck ever, especially if you're putting a lot of pressure on them. And then if you kill their Rotom and then Iono them, the issue is a lot of the time they are going to try and recover their Rotom, but a lot of the time they won't have that. So even with one Boss, you can get over the line. The other strategy I have is like in the list I played at LAIC, a lot of lists will be playing this going forward, is I had Luxurious Cape and Lost Vacuum. And now the cool thing about these two cards, they're both unsearchable one-offs, which is kind of annoying. But you can attach enough energies to knock out one of your Pokemon. You can Gardevoir EX, put like, let's say 7 energies to Arcana. And then it has 140 damage on it. Luxurious Cape, Luxurious Cape, put 7 energies on it. Or like put the extra energies. Let's say you have an Arcana on bench with 5 energies on it. You play 2 more. It has 140 damage on it. You then Luxurious Cape, vacuum the Luxurious Cape. You then vacuum the Luxurious Cape to knock out the Pokemon, put 7 energies to discard, so you have more energies to attach. And then you can ride back the Rolts, search out the Rolts with Artisan or Fog Crystal or Level Ball, and be fine from there. So that's the main strategy into Blocklax. I don't think I really have much else to say. Iron Onium to 6 is very strong. Just keep that in mind. Like if you ever need them to whiff something, Iron to 6 can get you there. But not the most reliable strat. But in my opinion, I think you need you need two of these combos to be competitive. So like if you have Tours and Collapse, you're competitive in the matchup. If you have Collapsed and this combo, you're also competitive in the matchup. If you like, I played Collapse in this combo, so I think I was pretty competitive if I hit Blocklax. I didn't hit it. If you have Tours in this combo, you're also very competitive in the matchup. If you only have one, you're not. You're not very competitive in the matchup. Them hitting, and also keep in mind, just Super Rod your things out of the discard because they're not running Collapse Stadium Vacuum Ericas. They're only running Avery. So as long as your Pokemon you don't want to get Echoing Horn out isn't in the discard, it can never get trapped on board. The only way you'll lose is these plays with this. And then the other strategy I think is okay, but I think it's very situational that you can actually go for this. You have to have a very good opening hand. Is Rolts. You have Roll Attack, you start Rolts, you evolve it to Refinement, and then you like discard, you draw some cards, get some energies to discard, and then you evolve that to Arcana. And then you just get 3 energies on this Arcana, and then you just stop drawing. The stipulation for this, I would say, is you have to open Rolts, a way to get Arcana, a way to get Refinement, at the very least, and Iono. So that whenever you draw a Mew or a water Pokemon, you can Iono it back into the deck. So you don't put it in your hand or your discard. And then you just get Arcana down, you attach energies, and then you only attack with Arcana. If the Eric is your Rolts, you attach energy to it. And the only thing you can't get Ericized is your water or your Mew. Very playable strategy. You'll probably get to 40%. Probably like a 40-50% win rate with that. Obviously the problem is you draw one on your Iron, you draw another one. You don't draw enough energies, or you miss one part of this combo. That's when it can fail. But I think if you draw a good enough opening hand, it's worth going for. Especially if you think you haven't played the matchup a lot and you're not familiar. Let's say you're going into Gdansk tomorrow. You've played not enough games of the matchup. Very, very playable strategy. That's also very straightforward. You don't need to turbo for energies, but you should. Because you're going to need to draw energies before you draw Pokemon anyways for you to win the game. So just try and go a little bit fast. You're still very slow because you're only attacking for 150 and it'll take them... but eventually you just scale up to 5 energies, eventually scale up to 7 energies. It will take a long time, but it's okay. Every Fog Crystal can go towards being an energy, so it's not the end of the world, and then attack that way. Mew VMAX. Avery is very good. Very, very, very good. Against any Mew VMAX variant, collapsing kill used to be strong. Avery counter catcher kill Genesect, super strong right now against any Mew VMAX variant. Fusion, otherwise. Sometimes you get really bad games against Mew VMAX, but otherwise, sometimes you get really good games. And so something I wanted to point out in this matchup is basically when they're at 4 prizes. So basically, you're gonna play this like any other matchup. Is they get an attack, you Mirage Step, they get another attack, it's down 6-4. Now, the best strategy in this situation is actually to go Scream Tail or Cresselia, kill against Fusion. So let's split Fusion and DT because they're very different. You're playing against Fusion, you're supposed to use Scream Tail or Cresselia to kill a 1 prize on that turn and put yourself down to 5 prizes, because then you can kill VMAX plus 2 prizes now. So you're almost never going to be able to kill Mew VMAX into Mew VMAX, because they're always going to Psychic Leap. They're always going to Psychic Leap, then Mew VMAX out of play, and then you're like, okay, I got to take 2 prizes and then take another one, which can be annoying, but playable. Vacuum's really important for vacuuming their box, so I would keep that around all the time, and you're just trying to vacuum their box. But the cool thing about Scream Tailing is it leaves you with a few more Curliers on board than you would otherwise, or more cards in hand. If they boss, then at least you have a couple more cards in hand to do your whole play, compared to if they just judged you, you get to keep the hand that you built on the previous turn, which is good. Avery, they can discard 1 prize, so that's something to keep in mind. Like if you're going for a Scream Tail kill and then you Avery and they discard their 1 prize, it's a bit rough, so don't do that. Hold your Avery for the following turn, I think. And then just go for Mirage Step. If you Mirage Step, you're favored against Mew VMAX. If you Mirage Step at any point, you're favored. They're going to try and avoid it. It's worth keeping in mind that they have Ice Cube, so you don't want to attach to Ralts on turn 1 if you have like Mew active, or if you just want to attach the active. Mew active, Ninja active, Scream Tail, Cresselia. Any Pokemon that isn't Ralts active, you want to attach the active instead of the bench. Assuming you don't have Manaphy on board. If you have Manaphy on board, attach your Ralts, whatever, it's better. But if you don't have Manaphy on board, attached to the active, whatever active mon you have, and then you have to rope into Ralts. It's a bit unfortunate, but if you have 2 Ralts in play, you're fine. You should be playing VIP anyway, so you'll draw the Pokemon. And then DT and Mew is a bit different, but Avery is even stronger against them. Sometimes they're playing Super Rod, and sometimes they're playing a few more basics now. But it is just objectively true they're weak to Avery. They're going to play with 4 bench usually. If they're not running like a very thick Pokemon line with Super Rod, like we saw from like Joining and stuff, they're running a Shelmet line and then Super Rod as well. But if they don't have that, you'll let it out. And then basically your goal is to brick them while attacking with EX is super strong into that matchup specifically, because they need 3 tablets and they can't kill the next EX in one shot. So if you can just go counter catcher attack with EX, they kill you, counter catcher attack with EX again, and then try and set up to go for a kill the next turn with Arcana or basically anything. Just basically try and set up your board in these matchups and then go for a reasonable prize trade, but just know that you'll never get to take 3 prizes 2 turns in a row, that you have to eventually take 2 prize knockout, so killing 2 prizes is always a dub. And in the situation I was talking about where you kill the 1 prize with Scream Tail, the prize from there is obviously take the 3 prizes and then take 2 on the next turn. You can do it the other way around, but you're risking Psychic Leap, obviously. So, Lugia, I don't know this matchup that well. I know that Scream Tail and Gardevoir EX are insane attackers, and killing the Chops is your main go-to. So they struggle to hit Iron Hands on turn 2 as far as I know. So you're not going to be too worried about that, even if they're going first. And then basically you just go like, the ideal plan is to like go Counter Catcher on Lumineon, Scream Tail, kill their Archeops, and they can no longer Iron Hands. If they didn't get at least the Iron Hands on board, that just ends the game. Because if they never Iron Hands, you'll always win, because Scream Tail is so strong at killing Archeops that you're generally fine. I think the matchup's favored. I've been told it's favored. But limited experience, to be fair. But yeah, the goal is just, if they do hit the turn 2 Iron Hands, you're in a really bad spot going first. Like, you're in a terrible position, but game's playable from there. The best thing to do is just go around Gifted Iron if you get into a really bad situation in this matchup. There's not much else you can do. As I said, I don't have the best info in this matchup, so that's really all I have. Arcana is super strong, obviously. Avery isn't that strong, but use it as draw support because them discarding Lumineon doesn't really matter because your main game plan revolves around killing Archeops. And also, Gardevoir EX Countercatcher kill Archeops is super good as well. Chasing the Archeops is the new main plan for Gardevoir, and it's very effective at doing it. Entei and Valiant. I have a few ideas on how this matchup works. But basically what it comes down to is you're going to be down a ton of prizes and you need to try and stabilize with Mirage Step to start. If you do stabilize with Mirage Step, the ways that you're trying to win are Fat Arcanas with like Reversal Energy, maybe even 2 Reversal Energy, or have energy on them. They will try and kill your Reversal if you bench one. If you put one onto the bench, so sometimes it won't work, but another main strategy can be to Cresselia, just put damage on something and then Gardevoir EX kill. And so basically, like, you're going to want to, the main strategy is going to be to Cresselia, get damage off your board and put it onto like either an Iron Valiant or an Entei, and then finish that off with Gardevoir EX. So they don't have great ways to one-shot the Gardevoir EX through Iona. They have Radzard plus pings, but it can be annoying, especially when you haven't taken many prizes at these early stages in the game. You can go Cresselia, Gardevoir Punch, set up more Gardevoirs. Try and get 2 Gardevoirs and try and cycle between them because it's hard for them to hit Gust or Iono. That's like the main thing. They are not that weak to Iono in general because they're hitting Research and like sometimes they can preserve Seal Stone. So sometimes like their Fleet Foot gets them there. They can draw a lot with Fleet Foot. I've seen Regidrago in Iron Valiant, which I think is an insane concept that you might want to look into. If you're an Iron Valiant player, maybe it's terrible, but we'll never know. Yeah, and just going like super and like being you like just basically going super far behind and then trying to come back from that. I don't really have a ton on this matchup, but yeah, like using Cresselia I've heard is insanely strong, and just Iono spam with Gardevoir EX attacks is the way you're gonna win in the end game. Trying to kill Radzard is also super important. They sometimes play Super Rod, sometimes not though, and sometimes they can whiff it as well for Ionos. If you can make them draw very specific cards off Iono, that can be fine sometimes. It's just when they have broad range. Like if you're praying they don't draw switch cards, it's not a realistic game plan. If you're hoping they don't draw energies, not realistic either. And then Iono spam in the early game, still important. Iono spam down to 4, still super good. I don't think Entei Iron Valiant is worth taking 4 at the moment. Just play Cresselia. It's an okay matchup. I think if you played it, grinded a ton, and got good at the matchup, you could probably get this to 50-50 or maybe 50-50, maybe slightly unfavored, but still fine. Because that's how it seems to be with these sort of like really inconsistent spread decks with Metacham's Yoga Loop. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this matchup guide. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it gave some value with this. If you did learn something, sub to the channel. I really appreciate it. If you're playing Gardevoir, good luck. If you're seeing this in 2 years from now, Godspeed to Gardevoir. Hopefully it's still alive or not. I don't really care. Anyways, guys, peace out. I'll see you later.